Welcome to our weekly Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. This is a support intended especially for solopreneurs. And this morning we're going to be looking at David's experience at WordCamp. And we're also, I need to be telling you, everybody, that we're doing something just a little bit different this morning. In my effort to simplify things, we're doing it a little bit differently. However, I do want to get us started by introducing those who are in the green room right now. And so this morning we have David, who is going to tell us about his experience. He's in Illinois, and what he does, he creates affordable websites for small businesses. And I see that Paul just joined us. He's got his video and audio muted, but if he comes on, there he is. So you're just in time, Paul, for me to introduce you. Paul is in British Columbia here, and he helps startups turn ideas into profitable action. Good morning, Paul.
Buongiorno.
Yeah, we're Paul and I are in the same neighborhood. So, and then we have Vivek Rao, who is in the UK, and he simplifies life and business by unifying different technologies and developing software. And thank you for coming, Vivek. I know that you're kind of under the weather this morning. Now I just want to say a little something before we get started, David, about our system. We've Vivek and I worked for quite a while last week, after my fiasco last week, at setting up OBS in a slightly different way that will hopefully make it simpler for me to do this. So the other thing I want to acknowledge is that if anybody has seen that very short intro, that was basically just a slide presentation made into a video. And the slide presentation originally, with all those little circles going and everything, it was Bill Graham who helped me to do that. But it was David who took the amended slideshow and turned it into a video for me. So I really want to acknowledge David for having done that. And I'd be really interested to know what others think of that shortened introduction. And we may have some issues around the timing of when it goes from OBS to YouTube to my website. I don't know. We will see. But we thought we had created some things that would make that go smoothly. So Vivek, it will be interesting for us all to see the end result. For sure.
As far as I can see, I'm monitoring intermittently on my other monitor, and everything seems to be fine so far.
Right on. So thank you so much for your help and assistance. I mean, I think you and I both learned a whole lot of things about OBS by working together and working our way through what we did. So I just really want to thank you for that time and expertise, for sure. So now we we had decided some time ago that we knew that David was going to attend the WordCamp, and so we wanted to hear all about the WordCamp that he attended, and what it was like and what his takeaways were. But before going there, I want to acknowledge that Javita, one of our regulars, who is normally in the panel here, she's out on the live stream and YouTube right now, adding comments, etc. So it's nice that you're there, but we'll miss you in the comment stream. And if it's sometime you want to join in, of course you've got the linkage that you'll be able to do that. And I want to acknowledge Kathy Pop, who says in the comments that she was a co-organizer of WordCamp in San Antonio, her community. So that's so it's happy that you joined us, Kathy. So now, David, what did you what about WordCamp? Tell us what I think you went last year, didn't you?
Well, last year I went to St. Louis's WordCamp, which is the same as San Antonio's, except for it was in St. Louis. And they have a whole bunch of these WordCamps for each town. If you have, I think it's 10 meetups, you qualify to host a WordCamp in your wherever location you're at. And they will help you organize it and help you put it on. This year, the WordCamp USA was held in St. Louis. So I again returned to it. St. Louis's WordCamp was combined with that.
Okay.
So my wife and I took off and went down there, and I've got a presentation. If you want me to, I can take over and start sharing my screen.
And just so that while you're doing that, just so that you know, there is a WordCamp that happens annually here in Victoria, British Columbia as well. So.
Yes, and they're all over the world. And basically, I'm going to go over the following things. Let's see. Come on. There we go. Who went, why we went, what we did, what we learned, and what's happening, and will we go again. We both enjoyed the camp. It's kind of a vacation for us, a mini vacation. We spent 3 nights there, and 2 nights there, and we enjoyed ourselves, and we got to go to the party after Friday night's party, and got to meet everybody and see everybody that we were in conferences with, and it went really well. Oops.
Yeah, you missed a slide. There you go. There.
So this is Debbie and I at the camp with over 2,700 people there, which was amazing. There was a lot, and there were a lot of people. The one thing I noticed about this one, the one in St. Louis was held at a different college. I forget the college, but it was held at a different college, and all the classrooms were real close together. These classrooms there were like 4 in one area of the building, and there were 4 or 6 in another area of the building. And by the time we got done, both of us had walked over 10,000 steps in order to get back and forth between those. So we got our health on that day, or those 2 days. It was quite a bit of walking, but it was enjoyable.
And David, I just want to say I've never seen a picture of Debbie, so it was neat to see that you shared her picture.
Yeah. And if you see, I made the mistake when I signed her up. They took the picture of my my Gravatar. Instead of using her email, I used my email because I thought it'd be the same thing. So she ended up being me, and then she drew hair on me. So.
Oh dear.
So why we went? we one of the reasons I went was I wanted to meet the Divi crew or team. They were advertising a breakfast that they were going to have at 7:30 before. Unfortunately, I didn't make that, but that was one of the things I really wanted to see.
Okay,
Um,
David, stop there for a minute. Some people watching this may not know what Divi means.
okay, Divi is a theme
Mm,
and a page builder
mm-hmm.
in that's for WordPress. They're also under Elegant Themes, and it's one that I've used for the last couple of years. And um, I've followed a lot of these people on YouTube and get their videos. So I really wanted to meet some of the people in person that I've been following for a couple of years and
Mm,
get to see.
mm-hmm.
So, and that just didn't work out this time. Maybe next year. Um, we wanted to meet people um, with like mind. Um, I meet everybody here once a week, but most of the time, my time is spent with people that don't understand what a WordPress web page is, how to do it, what's going on with it, and so it was a time for me to get to meet some people and get to bounce ideas and information off from other people. I wanted to learn some more information about what was going on in the world and how to build a better website and how to better brand myself and to find out where WordPress is going, where WordPress is, and where it is going.
Mm-hmm.
And I accomplished the 3 out of the 4 goals. So next year we're hoping to get because it's in the same place again next year in St. Louis. So we'll go again, and hopefully next year I'll get all of my goals accomplished.
Mm.
What we did, well, the first thing that we did was we got our swag. You can see I got my hat and I got a nice new T-shirt and a lot of other stuff, bags and pins and the grandkids got a whole bunch of stickers um, from each one of these. They have stickers galore, so that was a lot of fun. Got to meet the people that were um, some of them we use like PayPal and got to use uh, help get their help on setting some stuff up for me and whatnot. And it was a lot of fun. They had, I don't know, 20 vendors
Mm.
there.
Uh-huh.
So it was interesting.
Sort of like a trade show.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the next thing is we went to all these classes. The ones that have numbers beside them, you can go to WordPress.tv and you can find those. They're actually those classes are actually recorded on video. The other 3 have not been processed yet, and I don't know if they will or not. I'm not going to discuss each one of these. I will go when I go to the next slide. I'll go over some of what I've learned. Um, but as with everything, there was a lot of there were a number of times, or like 2 times, where we had classes that I wanted to be in, and I couldn't be at both places at once. Um, I haven't learned how. I haven't got the little twirly thing that was in Harry Potter to be able to be in both classes at the same time. So, um, but now 1 of them have been recorded and has been posted, so I'm going to be going through that one.
Mm.
That was on SEO, and the other one I will just have to wait and see if they publish it.
So now,
Um,
David, for somebody who has not attended, if we went to that website, would we be able to see those videos?
yeah, yeah. Well, you'd be able to see a majority of the videos of the people, um,
Cool.
and if you can't attend,
Mm-hmm.
they also live stream all of these.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how they do that exactly, but I was being told that they live stream them as they're doing them. So if you can't attend and you want to get the classrooms, you can go ahead and get them
Mm.
um,
But David,
as they're going on.
you paid to attend that. So does that mean that when you go to this WordPress.tv that you pay first to attend online?
I don't believe so. I think they give it to you free.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So,
the cost per person was $50. which is to me reasonable.
Oh
I,
boy,
I
it's a lot more
um,
expensive than that here.
yeah.
Hmm.
If it was expensive, I wouldn't go. If it was over $100, it was probably over 75. We probably wouldn't have gone. But since it's $50, it's reasonable price, and I get a
Hmm.
lot of information.
Hmm.
And I make some I tried what Fred said to take a book with me, an autograph book,
Hmm.
and I got one page of people that
Cool.
um,
You took your
hand
rocket
me
book.
autographs, but I didn't get comments. I was trying to get them to give me, comments maybe about where we were at and what we were doing. I just got a bunch of emails and phone numbers,
Yeah.
so which is good. And
Okay. Kathy Pop is saying it's free. So that's the answer to my question. Yeah.
yeah,
Right on.
and
So
um,
while we're on the topic, you raised the fact that you took your rocket book. Were you able to make good use of that while in the sessions that you attended?
one or two of them I did, but
Uh huh.
most of the time I was taking pictures of the slides,
Okay,
and
and that
so it
makes
was,
sense too.
yeah, and
Hmm.
um, my note taking is not the best in the world, but when I'm uh, but I use it and I take it with me everywhere I go.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
love my Rocketbook.
Hmm.
One of the
Okay.
best things. I don't. I've eliminated scratch paper because number one, I write it on small pieces of paper, not post-it notes, but small pieces of paper, and then I can never find the small piece of paper. It's gone. So
You're right.
what I was doing before was writing on a small piece of paper, take a picture of it, then it's in my phone. Well, now I'm writing it on it, and I'm not wasting paper. So.
Hmm. Right.
Um, but I'm not going to go through each one of these
No,
classes.
no.
It's
But
not worth it.
I see a few things though that would be of interest to lots of people. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Kathy Pop says that's how I take notes too. Kathy, do you mean on a little pieces of paper that get lost, or on the rocket book? Go ahead, David.
okay. Um, basically what I learned there, and there was a lot more, but the main things I learned was that we need to work on accessibilities to our website. I've never really looked into that when I've heard about it for years, but um, and thought I was doing a good job, but was not. Um, we went through and did an audit on one of my sites, and it's needs a lot of work for accessibility, and it's something that if you think about it from a web point of view or from an owner's point of view, you're closing the door to people, and you want to open the doors to as many people as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And so accessibility is something I'm going to strive to work on and to learn a lot more about, um, and work on my sites to get it better. Um, the other thing I learned is that Gutenberg is here to stay. The hopes of everybody trying to get rid of that is not going to happen. They're full steam ahead, and from what I've seen, they've improved it a lot. I've got one website that I build with Gutenberg, and if for people that don't know what Gutenberg is, it's the new way of it's a block editor for building your website, and allows you to take a block and put some information in it, and style it and put it on your website, and then you can put the next block and the next block and the next block, and it works really well. They've done a lot to improve the blocks, styling wise, and everybody, a lot of people know that we had a new update of WordPress 5.3, and that did a lot for a number of the blocks that were uh, just weren't flexible enough, and you had to go and um, get a plug-in to straighten it out so you could do like the headers. You couldn't format them as well. You couldn't put colors in, or you couldn't put background colors in, and stuff like that they're now allowing. but it's here to stay. And when it first came out, I thought, boy, it's going to be a long time before the classic editor's gone. But they're talking like 2023, and that's only 3 years away, where they're not going to support it. They were saying that it's going to still work, and it's just not going to get security updates, and it's not going to be updated as time goes by. So either someone will have to buy that or privatize it and do it so they can keep it updated, or people are going to switch to Gutenberg, and they're really wanting everybody to switch to the Gutenberg.
So, David, I just want to make sure that we're clear on what you mean there. So it's going to go away possibly in 2023. Did they say when the security updates would be ceased?
That's when they're going to stop the security updates.
Oh, I see.
They're not gonna make it so the plugin doesn't work. It'll still work.
I see.
But what they're doing is they're no longer going to support it.
I see.
Which
right.
can be the death of the plugin, or it depends. It's an open source, so there's the ability for someone to pick up that slack or build something off of that would and make it a paid plugin so they could support it.
Okay, can I stop you for a second? Because I'm monitoring. I'm doing what you normally do for me. So I asked Kathy, was she just taking notes on little scraps of paper, and she said no, she takes pictures. Is what she meant. And then in relation to the accessibility, she says Domino's was sued from a blind man recently. Oh.
Yeah.
So
there's.
And she says, I hate Goot. I'll stick to a page builder, she says.
It's
yeah.
To me, it's all a matter of learning a new process on how to do things, and it's. I've worked with Gutenberg, and it's got its little quirks. It makes it some stuff a little bit more difficult, but there's stuff in Divi that is difficult to do, and they don't make it easy to do. And sometimes it's simple to do just in the classic editor, and there's stuff in the classic editor that I can't do that these other things can. So I mean, it's all a matter of choose your poison.
Well,
and which one you're going to go to bed with, stay with.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. The page builders are going to be around, and they're going to incorporate more into Gutenberg as time goes by. The classic editor is the only one that's going to be. That's a question whether someone's going to pick that up or not.
Well, and before we leave that topic, because this is of great interest to all of us. I actually upgraded all of my sites to WP3. And then shortly after that, I was listening to Mayanna's Tuesday update, and she says, "Don't do that yet. It's too soon." So, too late. But I'm happy to report that I have backups of everything. So if I do need to go back, I can. But so far, things seem to be looking okay. So, but this is raising a topic for all of us to. I mean, it's a question of resisting change, isn't it? So
humans are like cats.
Oh,
They
there
don't
you
like
are,
change.
Jay. I didn't know you were there.
I've been here the whole time, just lurking in the dark. I do have a quick question about Gutenberg for Dave.
Yeah, go ahead.
Does Gutenberg have a feature to view the HTML?
Yes.
View the code? Oh, okay.
Yes, it does. It and it's interesting because the HTML, they put it in, it's not in a block, but it starts out with a code at the top, and each block has a code at the bottom, and then you have your HTML in the middle. And so it's the page is segmentized by that HTML, and it makes it a lot easier when you're dealing with one little aspect of a page, that you're right there in that little page and part of it, and you're not affecting anything else. So
Okay,
that's a
good.
plus to it.
Yeah, I could just write in code then instead of using the block editor. So
Yeah,
I'm fine. So,
yeah,
awesome. Thank you.
you're welcome.
But I think there's an opportunity for people to create little courses on how to use Gutenberg, etc.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. You want to carry on? Yeah.
If you're using WordPress org, you should be, you need to give back. Like Kathy Pop is, she's giving back because she's one of the organizers of her San Antonio WordCamp. I'm going to be trying to do video editing for them, and I'm not going to spend hours and hours and hours and hours of doing it. I'm dedicating like about 2 hours a week or 2 hours every 2 weeks to it, and just do 1 or 2 videos. I'm not gonna go overboard. I'm not gonna be one of these guys that's gonna, work my way into the top organization of a volunteer organization. I'm spending 60 hours a week, working for that, and then trying to make a living. Unless I get rich, I win the lotto, then I might do something like that. But but giving them 2 hours a week is something that to do video editing is something I can manage, and it's something that does help out.
Right.
Because they have a backlog of videos that aren't being done, and it's an open source volunteer organization. Now I know other people, and it's kind of strange, but it's one of these deals where people make money off of it, but it's an open source. The ultimate goal of WordPress.org is to be open source, and anybody can use it, and anybody can change it, and anybody can do anything they want with it. So, okay. And will I go again? That was supposed to be. Anyway, yes, I will, as long as it's close. I'm not going to go if it's out in the West Coast, unless my funds give me the money, or the funds break. If I can drive to it, I'll probably go to it, and that'd be the thing. And I mean drive to it in a reasonable amount of time. I'm not looking for a 2-day trip. I mean, 4 hours to St. Louis is something I can get to.
Right.
And I still want to meet the Divi team, so that's got me going. And I like keeping track of what's going on. And it's just, I enjoy myself because like I said, I get to meet a lot of like-minded people, and it ends up being a good weekend.
Wow.
So, we have any other questions?
We have a question from Kathy Pop. It says, David Flannery, do you have any issues with WP 5.2 and Divi? I had to roll my WP version back because Divi broke my site. Whoa.
I had no problem with 5.2. It didn't do anything to my site. I do some custom CSS on most of my site, and that seems to be when things happen, or there's a plugin conflict. I've had times where I've had to go to a different plugin and find out, and change to something else because it didn't work with Divi. But most of it's been minor stuff, and people wouldn't even notice it. It's more like I have trouble with the page builder doing something that it's supposed to do and it's not doing it, and that's when I've had the conflicts with the plugins. And I run a child theme on my CSS, so it doesn't when they update, they don't affect my child thing, and they don't affect CSS on it.
Okay.
So I didn't have trouble. That doesn't mean that there wasn't trouble.
Right. So there is also Javita who's saying, hello, Jay. And Kathy says, I'm trying to get Google to come and do a workshop for hours. So, and Javita says, WordCamp is going to be held in India on the 23rd of November. Seems a great event. So, there, that confirms what you said, that it happens all over the world, David.
Well, they're going to have next year. They're having a WordCamp Asia.
Oh.
They have one in WordCamp Europe where they get everybody in Europe to come together, and then they have the same thing in Asia, or they're starting to have it in Asia now, where they can get everybody's going to come together in one big.
So now, I'm just conscious that our other participants on the panel today have been very quiet. So I want to give them an opportunity to ask any questions or make any comments that they would like to.
I have a question if no one else does.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's more regarding Divi than anything. So I just actually wanted to ask Dave quickly, is there a way to is there an easy way to basically change things from Divi to something else without spending a massive amount of time changing, the Divi builder?
Unfortunately, there's not.
Okay.
If you change from, well, I shouldn't say that. You can put the Divi plugin in and then change themes, and then whatever is built with Divi would still function as Divi.
So you're referring to the Divi builder, not the theme?
The Divi builder plugin.
Gotcha.
You would still have a major amount of work to change any of the old stuff to being the classic editor.
Right.
But anything new, you wouldn't have to use the builder.
Okay.
You could use the classic editor. You could even go to a different page builder, and I wouldn't recommend that, but you could try it. Most of the time, I've heard that sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. Depends on the theme. It depends on the plugins can conflict and stuff.
Yes. But as long as the Divi builder plugin is still active, all of your existing content will still work with the new theme, right?
Correct.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So anybody else? Other comments or questions?
What is the number one thing you walked away from WordCamp?
From or with?
With. Yeah, sorry. It's not one of those kind of conferences.
Oh, doggone it, I forgot to get my sign. Oh, man, I got another sign. That's what I walked away with.
Nice.
One of their Divi signs. Or not Divi, but one of the WordCamp signs.
Yeah.
I was going to hang it behind me, and I forgot to do that. And got busy
Do you want to stop screen sharing now, David?
Yeah. If you don't mind, I'll run and get that real quick.
So we can see everybody that's here.
But the accessibility, I didn't realize how poor of a job we were doing and how poor of a job. Thank you, my dear.
My sign.
This is my wife's sign.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, cool.
It's got the bridge, the arch thing too.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, and this year we got permission to take it. Last year we just took it. Well, last year,
naughty boy.
Well, last year they were directional signs pointing you to where you needed to go, and they were 2018. They were marked. They were just going to be thrown away. Someone had to go pick them up, so they had one less sign to pick up. This was hanging on the podiums, So we didn't feel comfortable just taking one at the end of the conference. We made sure that we talked to someone and they gave us permission. And
Oh, right on.
because I don't know if they could
I
reuse them in any way, but um, you know, you don't know. They might have been giving them to other people and whatnot. So I didn't want to take it. But
I-
the main thing I took away was the accessibility this year.
yeah.
That was that how I didn't realize how important it was, and didn't realize how much I wasn't, how much the builders and the themes and the plugins are not making it easy to make things accessible. You have
Is
to
there-
work at it.
Yeah. Was there one specific element that they were focusing on in terms of accessibility? So making content readable, make it like.
That was number one.
Closed captioning.
Was captioning, but making content readable. There are lots of sites that go out there, use a white background, use a light gray font, and they make it very small, and you can't. And people that have visibility can't see it.
I see. Okay.
That was one of the main things that was going on. Now, I didn't have trouble with that on my websites because number one, I make sure I can read it, and if I can read it, everybody else can. And so I make sure there's a high contrast between them and stuff like that. But it was real important to make sure your contrast was good. One of the things that they wanted to make sure then, and mine didn't do very well, was that if someone didn't have a mouse, that you're able to use your tab button to tab through the page. To get through from the top where you got your menu, go through your menu, tab down into where you've got your buttons and where you've got other links and whatnot, and being able to move through the site with your tab button, because that's what people use when they don't have a mouse.
Okay. And here's a question that Kathy Pop has put up. How about mobile first? Did they mention that?
Yeah. Well, in the accessibility, they were. It was kind of a given that your site was mobile ready. But here again, they were expecting things, being able to do things with a thumb as much as possible, except for when you had to enter in information, to make it so that you could, your buttons were usable with your thumb. Because they want you to be able to do it one-handed, and stuff like that. Make sure that here again that your font choice and your contrast and your size are all easily readable on the phone. People tend to either usually they make it too big, that it's you can only get a word across or something like that. They want you to make sure you use the right size fonts. You can get it too small; they can't read it. So it's all that kind of stuff.
So Kathy Pop says at Domino's, and that was the court case that she mentioned earlier, it was the man's reader that couldn't read the menu. Yeah. So, well, and of course, my own experience with hearing loss, closed captioning for those people who have a hearing issue is really, really important. Really important for people who want to still participate. Yeah. And Kathy says mobile ready, mobile responsive, and mobile first are different.
Well,
yeah.
If she's referring to designing your website mobile first and then building a page out of that, they didn't discuss that.
No.
If that's what she's looking for, they did. I have tried that process, and that is difficult.
Yeah.
It's speaking of change, that change was,
Yeah.
didn't agree with me at all.
So what I think what we're all concentrating on is being responsive, and being responsive in a way that
Yeah.
yeah. So
It-
whenever we make a change on our website, it is really, really important to check it out from your phone, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Divi makes it easy because now almost every aspect that you do, you can flip between um, your different sizes. You got desktop, you've got
Hmm.
tablet, and mobile. The only one they don't do is the square screen, or the 4x3 screen, which is,
Hmm.
there's a lot of people that are still using 4x3 screens, and if you don't check that, you can end up where your menu ends up being in your logo, because it doesn't go to the bar menu at that point.
But
Um,
I mean, there are themes out there that give you that. The one that we're all using, you can see the you can reduce it down so you can see. So yeah, that's going to be really, really important thing to watch for. So that's interesting. I find it interesting that the font choices, the contrast, some of those things, and that whole business about being able to tab without a mouse. That's yeah. So that will be something for us all to look into. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure that out in terms of tab and not someone not having a mouse. I don't understand how that's an accessibility issue.
according to them, there's people that can't physically work a mouse, and if they can only push buttons.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Yeah,
You're
got
welcome.
it.
Hmm.
Any word on AMP? Did they mention anything about AMP?
Um, there was a course on it. I didn't take it. You might want to look into WordPress TV. Um, and it seemed like um, just the feeling I had that it's going away, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
That it's not going to be long lasting because it just isn't working as like they want it to work.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so.
Okay, right on. So we are way over our time here. So David, I really want to thank you for sharing what you got. I certainly took a few lessons away from there. Get busy and learn Gutenberg, and get busy and look at my website in terms of accessibility, etc. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And just before we close, any parting comments? Oh, I see David. I see Paul just dropped off. So this is what happens when we run over, isn't it? And I just wanted to say that Alana is among the missing this morning, and she has taken a part-time job and will be here sometimes and sometimes not. So, one last chance to say something, and now you're going to get to see the rest of my outro. So, if there are no comments, I want to just remind everyone it's important to do what you love with passion. And you're going to see this